Just a quick announcement. Overflow room is in 169. Whatever seats we have, great. Standing needs to go to 169. 169 is our overflow. Thank you.
Tim, you're going to get just front and center there, aren't you? Yeah, they put me in the hot seat. Put me in the front row. I'm usually better. I'm going to hide a little bit behind you. Hello, Tiffany. How are you? Don't ask me a question about my board. Agenda, huh?
Yes.
I trust the sponsors.
There was something going on, but I was like, I mean, I woke up.
They're kids.
Their jail was destroyed. And we've also beds in the building in this region.
I have to leave, but I just wondered.
I'm like, did these kids sleep from school?
And then there was a bill filed without any.
We'll give them this. They're right. They're not, it's not like a click automatic one. It's like, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah, that's why I thought, did I miss that?
Yeah, it's kind of impressive. Of course, come join us. You want me to move, or you want me to just slide over one? Good.
Do you have room? Because I'll take up all the space that I can.
Actually, you're going to take out one.
If I have it, I'll take it up.
There's no fear in person. That's right. But I keep hearing everyone call roll, and they still say Pearson.
Good morning. How are you? I'm doing great.
Yeah, we do.
Better than. You're good, right? Adultery. I mean, I'm voting against yours, but
Well, I mean, I don't care about mine. I'm worried about.
I think I'm fine. Yeah.
If you could just leave 2% in there and give.
We'll call to order the House Standing Committee on Appropriations and Revenue, meeting number 3, Tuesday, February the 25th, 10 a.m. Eastern Time in Annex Room 149. As announced earlier, we have an overflow room in 169. So if you can find a seat in here, great. If you cannot, and you're not otherwise staff or legislator, I would suggest 169. Please call the roll.
Representative Fanta.
Present.
Representative Wojciechowski.
Here.
Representative Bridges. Here. Representative Brown.
Here.
Representative Dietz.
Here.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland. Representative Fugit.
Here.
Representative Gentry.
Here.
Representative Hart. Representative Lockett.
Here.
Representative McPherson.
Here.
Representative Riley.
Here.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Present.
Representative Truitt.
Here.
Representative Upchurch.
Here.
Representative Williams.
Here.
Representative Bowling.
Here.
Representative Bray.
Present.
Chair Petrie.
Here.
That's fine.
All right. First up for consideration today, we have House Bill 152. This bill, Medicaid Supplemental Payment Program for Public Ground Ambulance Providers, Representative Michael Meredith, and this bill has previously been in Banking and Insurance, reported out, recommitted to A&R. We do have a PHS2.
Veterans Military Affairs, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, thank you very much. Military Affairs is where that was.
Second.
We have a motion, a second on adoption of PHS2. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? PHS2 is adopted. So we have before us HB 152 as amended by PHS2. And Representative Meredith, if you will introduce yourself for the record and anybody else that may be with you and the swearing under oath.
Representative Michael Meredith, 19th House District.
Chief Nick Clark, St. Matthews Fire and EMS.
If each of you will raise your right hands, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if you will, explain this one brief, small, singular change to the good bill that makes it even that much better.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the committee substitute is just a very technical sub in nature that makes sure that there are going to be no state general fund dollars ever expended on this program, that the local governments or the local agencies have to identify a source if any changes happen that fund any of the match that they have to pay on this.
Did you say that no general fund will ever be implicated in this program?
I think that is the absolute intent of the sub language, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
Would just say that this gives our local public agencies, so those that are taxing districts, fire departments, county or city-owned ambulance services, the opportunity to take advantage of additional federal funds if they're willing to pay into the system to access those.
Very good. Anything else? We have a motion.
Motion on the bill as amended by Committee Sub 2.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for House Bill 152 as amended by PH2. Seeing no member seeking recognition otherwise for comment or question, please take the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges.
You get in here?
Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you both for presenting. House Bill 152 as amended by PHS2, having received 20 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression from this committee that same should pass on the floor. Next up, we have House Bill 545 and Representative Truitt. And if you will, introduce yourself for the record, and then I'll place you under oath.
Representative Truitt, House District 89 representative.
Very good. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
House Bill 545 is a continuation of our conversation from last week relative to claims that have been presented from the executive branch to the legislative for approval as our affectionately annual claims bill. We have PHS 1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We have before us for consideration House Bill 545 as amended by PHS 1. Is there anything you want to relate to the committee, Representative Truitt?
Pretty simple bill, just the fact that, in Kentucky, we like paying our bills. So that's what we're doing, and thankful for our chairman of this committee and our vice chairman of this committee. We've got the money to do so. So I guess that's all I've got.
Very good. We have a motion from Representative Fleming and a second from Representative Bray on House Bill 545 as amended by PHS 1. Representative Gentry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One brief question, and maybe Chairman can answer this if the sponsor doesn't, but there were some questions last week about a few claims. Are all the claims being paid for, and if not, can you let us know which ones are being left out?
As stated or intended to be stated up front, we had a discussion last week, discussed some of those, but all of the claims provided to the General Assembly from the executive branch are included in this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other member seeking recognition for comment or question, please call roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. We got 21. House Bill 545 as amended by PHS 1 having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 passes will be reported from this committee with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Next up, we're going to take House Bill 606, Representative Josh Bray, relating to general obligation bonds. If you will introduce yourself for the record, I'll place you under oath.
Representative Josh Bray, House District 71.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So House Bill 606, if I remember correctly, we had general obligation bonds dealt with in the last session. During that time period, we've had some entities voluntarily report to capital projects bond oversight, but it appears that the GO bond structure did not require reporting. Your bill does what?
Just requires reporting.
Okay. Anything else to it?
Nope.
There is no. There is no PHS on this one. We have a motion and a second. Seeing no member seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Yes. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Long.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 606, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. We're going to deal with or address House Joint Resolution 30, for which there is no PHS relative to the waters projects. So House Joint Resolution 30 on the waters projects, and although it's got my name listed on that, I've got the water man in front of us. If you will reintroduce yourself for the record.
I remain Josh Bray, House District 71.
And you remain placed under oath, and we had House Bill, was it 563 from last year? Waters program created, KIA is administering. They have ranked projects based on applications received and statutory criteria. House Joint Resolution pursuant to that statute or that bill would green light projects in that ranked order. Is there anything else you need to say about it?
Motion on the bill?
No, sir.
We have a motion on the bill.
Second.
And I have a second on the bill. Again, there is no PHS. Seeing no member seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Yes.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative
Yes.
Hart.
Sorry.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution, excuse me, 30 having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Next up, we're going to consider House Joint Resolution 32, and although my name is on that, we have another expert for this. If you will reintroduce yourself for the record.
Josh Bray, House District 71.
And you remain under oath. House Joint Resolution 32, school facilities construction. We had some projects that came from last year's House budget. We had some conflicting information about details in the projects, and so ultimately it was referred out to the auditor's office to investigate those requests just for clarification and factual information, and I think a third party was engaged in order to assist with that. Reports come back. That report is updated a little bit. We've been contacted by at least one district that may think it has additional information. We've told them to put that in process. This is the first step, and this resolution would green light the release of those funds as stated and consistent with the auditor's report. Anything further from you?
No, sir.
Have a motion on the bill from Representative Fleming. Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. There is a PHS 1.
Motion on PHS 1.
We have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. House Joint Resolution 32 as amended by PHS 1 is what we have in front of us, and the comments made previously still apply to that.
Motion on the resolution as amended by PHS 1.
Have a motion on the bill and a second by Representative Fleming. See no member seeking recognition. Oh, you were outside the loop. I'll forgive it because you were sick. Okay. Representative Lockett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a quick question that possibly you could probably answer, or Representative Bray might be able to as well. On page 1, line 23, the expenditure to Johnson County Schools, can you go into a little bit more detail in terms of what that $39 million goes toward?
I appreciate the question, and as to each one of these, I would refer each and every person to the auditor's report that goes into great detail. Johnson County, actually, if I recall correctly, is an increase. We looked at that one, looked at the report, and it still stands as an increase, but the auditor's report is pretty thorough, is where I would point to facts at.
Thank you.
Seeing no other members seeking recognition for comment or question, we have a motion and a second on the bill as amended by the PHS. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson.
Yes.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 32 is amended by PHS 1, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the House floor. And if you will stay there, Representative Bray, and you'll have someone joining you, we're going to skip over House Joint Resolution 33 first. Joint resolution relating to contingent appropriations, and this is regarding an issue within the cabinet. And we've had multiple requests for a plan that was to be submitted that have gone unanswered. Yesterday late we received a sort of plan that we're going to review. We're going to pass over that for the moment. The next one up for consider, and we will pass over it for the day. Next up, we have House Joint Resolution 34, a joint resolution relating to contingent appropriations, and that's relative to KCTCS. And I think we have President Quarles with us. We have a motion for adoption of PHS 1 on, have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We now have before us HJR 34 as amended by PHS 1, and each of the persons at the table, if you will introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself for the record, and then I'll place you each under oath.
I'm Andrew Casebeer. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Facilities with KCTCS.
Josh Bray, Representative, House District 71.
Ryan Quarles, President, KCTCS.
Very good. Will each of you raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah. I do.
Very good. We have an appropriation that was made in the 24 budget cycle. Among other things, there are 3 capital projects that are the subject matter of this joint resolution. And if it's to gain approval, then we need to hear a reason why. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. Last year, we were challenged with responding to a Joint Resolution 179, and in that is our recommendations for the next 25 years of the future of KCTCS. But part of the budget bill last year included $90 million in response to our Efficient Operations and Innovation Plan. This is our response to that. We have identified 3 projects across Kentucky that we think would significantly and strategically launch our KCTCS system into the next generation. This includes renovating some old buildings and replacing those. And very quickly, Mr. Chair, the first one is Somerset Community College, and this will be their Laurel County campus. What it would do would consolidate 2 campuses and also make room for growth for technical programs like diesel, automotive, welding, HVAC, 3D printing, and also has a regional draw. The second program, the second building that we're requesting is at Jefferson Community and Technical College. This would replace a current building that I know everyone here is driven by, I-65, Hartford Hall. That facility right now is outdated. It's not ADA compliant, and just one example, the building is 12 stories tall and the elevator only goes to 11 stories. And currently the lab space, the science lab space in there cannot be used because it does not meet safety specs. This would allow us to expand in nursing and allied health and also allow us to replace the building that has actually a smaller square footage but more instructional space. The last project very quickly is with Sky down in your neck of the woods, Mr. Chair. This will be for the Glasgow campus. This would be to build a new facility that focuses on allied health, particularly nursing, industrial maintenance, automation, allied health, etc., including medical lab assistance.
Motion on the bill is amended by the committee substitute.
Second. Have a motion and a second for adoption of House Joint Resolution 34 as amended by PHS 1.
No, sir.
You're more than welcome to. I'm just asking.
I've been in Frankfurt long enough to know when to stop.
All right. All right. Seeing no member seeking recognition for comment or question, if you will call the roll on House Joint Resolution 34 as amended by PHS 1.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Yes. Representative Stevenson.
Yes.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 34 is amended by PHS 1, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression. The same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. Next up, we have for consideration House Joint Resolution 46, a resolution relating to road projects. And I think Representative Bray and Representative Upchurch are going to assist with this one. For the record, if each of you will state your names for the record, and then I'll place you under oath.
Kalen O'Connor, Legislative Research Commission.
I still remain Representative Josh Bray, House District 71.
Very good.
And I am Representative Ken Upchurch, House District 52.
Very good. If you'll raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Very good. We have no PHS on this, so it is the bill, the House Joint Resolution 46 as introduced. And we had introduced a program, I think, in the 24 session, essentially assisting local city and county governments with road projects of certain types. This is the result of that process playing itself through over the interim with the Department of Transportation and presenting a series of projects for consideration. And this list is what has resulted with what money we have allocated for this, which I think is approximately $20 million, a little more than that maybe. And this fits in with those road projects at the city and the county level. This has nothing to do with the state road plan. It has nothing to do with the state road plan, the in years or the out years. It has nothing to do with the state plan whatsoever. This is a follow-up from a program for cities and counties in 24, brand new. Anything else y'all need to add?
Mr. Chairman, all I'll add is there was 1,063 road projects turned in, and this plan funds 139. So we had roughly $140 million worth of requests with a little over $20 million to appropriate.
Very good, and I think in receiving all of those requests from the Department of Transportation and how they scored, we essentially had 0s to 10 in severity. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so what this list focuses on is the 10s only.
10s only.
Yeah, very good. I have a motion by Representative Fleming on the bill and a second. Representative McPherson. Already have a second. Do you have a question, comment? All good? All right. Representative Gentry.
Yes, Mr. Chair, just have a brief question. Is this fund that we created prior to us doing this, is this something that went through Department of Local Government in Executive Branch before, or is this something brand new?
You will probably remember this commonly referred to as the governor's discretionary, or as the cabinet like to refer to it as contingency fund.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and just to make sure that that program was through the Department of Transportation, not through local government, so this is road fund money.
One follow-up real quick, sorry about that. So if we have a small project in our county, we would come to you under this program and not through Department of Local Government, or is that wrong? Or?
No, the process has always been that you would, local governments would turn those projects into the Transportation Cabinet, and from there they would be graded on the scale of 1 to 10, and then submitted to us.
Thank you.
Seeing no other members seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll on House Joint Resolution 46.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland. Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt. Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 46, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression. That same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. Next up, we'll take House Joint Resolution 53. Representative Bray, if you don't mind staying at the table again. And just making sure, do we have anyone here from KSU? Very good. It is hard to see everybody in the room, and that's why I ask gently. Come on up. Yes, please. All right. To save us the trouble, you remain Representative Bray. And if you will introduce yourself for the record, please.
Kofi Akapo, President of KSU.
Very good. If each of you remain under oath, if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for coming over. And we have House Joint Resolution 53, to which there is no PHS, and this would authorize funding pursuant to budget language in 24. It would authorize the Office of State Budget Director to release capital construction funds for the design of Health Sciences Center project at KSU. And as the President has so kindly come and spoken with us a couple of times about this, and even had Aaron Thompson of CPE involved in the discussion to make sure we're doing as well as we can for now and the future, there's also a Section 2 that says before November 1 of 25, we'll get a report back from KSU and from CPE that says a business model plan for how this is going to help KSU. So we'll get away from anecdotal a little bit and look for a business plan analysis. And then CPE will do the same thing and assist and go, KSU, they have their business model for this type of service at their institution. How does that fit in across the state to make sure everybody's not doing the same thing at the same time to your detriment? Anything that either of you want to add to?
Well, good morning and thank you, Mr. Chairman. All I can add is we need that building desperately. Nursing represents 34% of our total enrollment. And nursing is not going to be the only one in that building. We'll have other allied health programs, as well as carved out space for our land grant program. As it stands right now, we don't have lab space for our land grant program. And we're the second land grant institution in the state and the biggest program on campus.
Motion on House Joint Resolution 53.
Second.
We have a motion on House Joint Resolution 53 and a second. Anything further? You're welcome to. That doesn't stop you. I'm just asking.
Okay. Well, no, it's going to be crucial for us to get the building. We'll get that business plan for you.
Very good.
As a financial person myself, I understand why is requested of me.
Very good.
We will get that to you.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second on the House Joint Resolution with no PHS. Seeing no members seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll on House Joint Resolution 53.
Representative Banta. Yes. Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Yes. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Aye. Representative Freeland. Yes. Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes. Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Blockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 53, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. Next up, we'll take up House Joint Resolution 54, a joint resolution authorizing release of funds. This is relative to the State Fair Board discussion of last week. There is no PHS. This would authorize those funds which we discussed last week. Have a motion on the bill and a second. Anything, Representative Bray, that you want to add to the?
No, sir.
Everybody recalls the conversation from last week. Seeing no member seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll on House Joint Resolution 54.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Yes.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 54, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. And don't get too giddy. We're going to skip the adjournment part and go right back to the first page. We're going to take up House Bill 546, an act relating to roads and streets maintained by local governments. And I believe we have still in front of us Representative Bray and Representative Upchurch, who introduced themselves previously and remain under oath. As I understand, House Bill 546 has a PHS 1.
Motion on PHS 1.
Have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1 to House Bill 546. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We now have before us House Bill 546 as amended by PHS 1. As I understand the sub, this would be a modification and ultimate replacement of the program that started last year, for which we just released funds. It has the same functional purpose, same set of goals, but a little different set of mechanisms. Is that a fair enough statement?
Yes.
Major differences between the existing program and what this would put in place. It's more stringent as far as having, it's the same application process to the Department of Transportation. It's the same scoring by a local engineer, but now there are factors in a scoring system that the Department of Transportation would develop according to the statutory criteria, and then report those on a rolling monthly schedule to the General Assembly with the final report near the end of the calendar year. There is a match component so that this is not a straight grant of money out. There is a slight match, and it's indexed according to what the index system has been used in the PDI program and the grant program in recent years. Anything further?
Mr. Chairman, I think you described it accurately.
Okay.
Motion on House Bill 546 is amended by a committee substitute.
I've got a motion and a second for adoption of House Bill 546 as amended by PHS 1. Representative Bojanowski, question or comment?
Yes, question please. So this bill has a $500,000 limit on the projects. Is there currently a limit in statute?
Currently in statute, no.
Wasn't sure, just checking. Representative Gentry, did you have a comment or question?
I was going to ask the same question she did. I could ask a follow-up question.
Yes,
though.
please.
Can you explain the reason why we're putting this limit in?
You get up to a certain dollar figure, this is something that needs to be addressed in another mechanism. Even though we have a state road plan that traditionally deals with only state roads, there's nothing that prevents us from dealing with other roads. If you get above 500,000, 600, a million, and we've had some of those requests in, we've got something at the local level that's not being addressed properly. And these funds are not luxurious funds. They're funds for those high needs and tens. And we probably need to address higher dollar figure projects in a different way.
Okay, just a quick follow-up to that, please.
Yes, please.
So there's another process we can go to when projects look like they're more expensive than that.
Yes. One, you can talk with any of us. Number two, although we historically don't, that can be looked at in the road project. But again, if we have something about in the road plan, if we have something more than 500,000 that's crept up as a high 10, the road is in such bad shape, we need to look at that especially.
Thank you.
Seeing no other members seeking recognition for comment or question on House Bill 546 as amended by PHS 1, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Yes. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 546 as amended by PHS 1, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you. And if you will stay there momentarily, you still remain Representative Bray, correct?
Last time I checked.
Very good. We're going to take up next House Bill 605, an act relating to economic relief for local communities of the Commonwealth and declaring emergency. We do have a PHS 1.
Motion on PHS 1.
I have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1 to House Bill 605. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We now have before us House Bill 605 as amended by PHS 1. If you will make sure everyone at the table is introduced for the record.
Hi, Rebecca Hartsoe, Babbage co-founder for Grant Ready, Kentucky.
Very good. Representative Bray, you remain under oath. Ms. Hartsaw, will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if I recall correctly, House Bill 605, as amended by PHS 1, is a cure-up technical corrections for the most part, if not entirely, to what would have been House Bill 723, I believe, in 2025, which created the 2024 grant program, or 2024, which would have created the grant program that's being administered by the Cabinet for Economic Development, into which $200 million was placed through House Bill 1 in 2024, correct?
Correct.
Anything in particular want to draw the committee's attention to on House Bill 605 as amended by PHS 1?
Yeah, as the chairman mentioned, since the grant program's launched, it's needed to be updated every year. This bill does the same. It expanded eligibility to include the Delta Regional Authority and the other.
Motion on House Bill 605 is amended by PHS 1.
Yeah.
Have a motion for adoption of House Bill 605 as amended by PHS 1 and a second by Representative Fleming. Anything further, Representative Bray?
I was only going to say the only other clarification is we specify which departments grants may be received from, and then it made various other technical changes to make sure applicants who are affiliated with cities, counties, water districts, what have you, are eligible to be within the program.
Very good. Representative McPherson?
Does this have anything to do with House Bill 9 that we did the next year?
Yes, that was the original bill, yes, to start the pilot program for the grant program.
So it's House Bill 9? Yeah.
House Bill 9, House Bill 723 of last year, and now it's House Bill
Okay.
605. So
Thank you.
it's a continuation.
Yep. Representative Bojanowski?
Yes, a question, please. So this bill provides that obligation of funds shall be no more than 12 months with a 6-month extension. Is that different than what's already in statute?
Yes, we never clarified exactly what that time frame was, and so that is simply creating one that didn't exist.
Yeah, because we don't want grants to be obligated and then hanging out for years and years and years and years, eating up the fund to where it could be used in a quicker, more expedited manner.
Yes.
Yeah, and recall that this program in its current version and probably its final version will sunset at the end of 26. And we may have obligated funds that are still hanging out past that date, but we need a date certain by which the program fully closes out. So we've had the 12 and the additional 6 can be requested.
Correct.
Representative Upchurch?
Yes, can you tell me how much of the fund has been obligated and how much has been leveraged?
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you. So of the $200 million, and remember that these are federal grants, they're in a rolling capacity. So that number is constantly changing. But right now we have, of the $100 million, just over $99 million that is in process and dispersed. And the total project value right now, provided that all these were successful, is just over $451 million. So for $1 of state investment, we're looking at about $4.5 million of total investment in a project. So that's quite a good ROI for something that's been in process for 6 months.
Seeing no other members seeking recognition, and with a motion and a second for final adoption of House Bill 605 as amended by PHS 1, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Explain my vote.
Briefly, please.
I'm definitely a yes. I love the ROI on this investment, and I hope this type of investment at the federal level continues for the future. Thank you.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 605 is amended by PHS 1, having received 21 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression. That same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. Representative Bray, if you'll hang with us a moment. Next up, we'll take House Bill 694. And Representative Bray, you remain under oath. Very good. We have an act related to teachers' retirement system benefit funding. If you'll bear with me just for a moment, I didn't get my sheet up in front of me. So House Bill 694 with no PHS was discussed yesterday in PPOB, Public Pension Oversight Board. And essentially the bill does the following. In TRS, we have historical funding levels, which although increasing in the pension benefits for TRS are increasing at a very slow rate. And we also have a health insurance fund The funding level of it is increasing at a much better rate with 2024 numbers. And we're looking at about 59% funded on pensions and about 80% funded on the health insurance. What this bill would do is, as the health insurance fund continues to increase its funding level and hits 100%, this bill would create a default position that would transfer almost like a pour over. Money keeps going in, but once the health trust fund hits 100%, the state payments on behalf of local districts, and if we were looking at FY24 numbers, about 26 million would be poured over and added into the pension benefits. And there was a question that came up after PPOB yesterday. Would these amounts go into the system as part of the calculation for actuaries? No. These would be over and above. They would not be part of the ADEC. So as we have made additional payments over the ADEC, the General Assembly has those true over and above payments, this would become an approximately 26 million that would get transferred over to the pension system itself. And likewise, other employer contributions, universities, school districts, all the ones involved in that, there'd be about 127 million that would go into the trust fund, which wouldn't be needed once it hits 100%. This bill would propose that gets added to the pension benefits. So
Motion on House Bill 694.
So we have a motion on House Bill 694 and a second for adoption. So as to those two amounts, once the trust fund gets 100%, those two items will be poured over as over and above payments into the pensions. If the health trust fund were to fall below 95%, the pour over stops and all the funding goes right back into the trust to make it full again. On current estimates, we look for the trust fund to hit 100% funding, hopefully in about 2027. Could be a little sooner, doubt it. Could be a little later, that's possible. But once we hit it, this would be the default position. That would ultimately result in about $154 million more being put into the TRS pension benefit fund each year under 24 numbers. That might grow over time. This issue can be looked at in the future for modification, but it would create a default position. Representative Bray, anything you want to add to that?
No, just like the chairman said, this is over and above what the actuarial required contribution is.
All right. And I will say for the record that Bo Barnes with TRS, they were working on the actuarial analysis and clarified a point or two last evening, and they're trying to finish it up as quickly as they can. There is no expectation there will be detrimental to either fund. So I don't anticipate anything bad coming back, but they want to make sure they've got their numbers right and make sure they're accounting for this as over and above, not included in the ADEC. Representative Bojanowski, I think you had a question or comment.
Yes, I do have a question. So when the TRS Medical Insurance Fund reaches 100% funding, will the state stop making the 0.75% contribution that is made historically?
This bill doesn't speak to that at all, so it doesn't terminate it.
May I ask another question?
Sure.
All right. So teachers pay 3.75% of their salary for the medical insurance fund as a part of the shared responsibility plan of 2010. Last year, I paid $3,189.05 to the medical insurance plan. And I understand under the original wording of the shared responsibility plan that when the actuary determined that the plan was sufficiently funded, that we could decrease the amount that teachers are paying into the fund. However, now, under this bill, teachers would continue to pay the full 3.75% until both the insurance fund and the pension fund are fully funded. So my question is, why do we need to continue to require teachers to make such a significant impact when the goals of the original shared responsibility plan will have been met?
So I think there's a lot of leeway being taken with the interpretation of the 2010. I wasn't here, the 2010 Share Responsibility Plan. I came in 17. I look at the four corners of the document. Everything that we're doing is consistent with it. I know I had one or two people come up yesterday after PPOB, always willing to discuss and see. This changes no one's funding, and we're not even at 100% funding of the Health Trust Fund yet. We hope to get there. This just puts a default position in the event that we do. If there is a better way of getting to it, I would be glad to take a look at it. Right now, I know of no other bill filed this session to address this issue. See no other member at this point, but Mr. Campbell, I think I saw you in the back. Did I? Yeah. Yeah, it's just hard. I thought I could find you around the post. I thought I saw you.
Sometimes hard to see.
Those posts are difficult at times. If you will, introduce yourself for the record.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eddie Campbell. I'm a middle and high school music teacher from Knox County, currently serving as president of the Kentucky Education Association.
Very good. You raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. I believe you signed up to speak about 694. Proceed.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair Petrie. We appreciate it, and thank you, committee, for just wanting to make some comments today. I wanted to begin by thanking Chair Petrie for initiating this conversation around shared responsibility and the next steps. And I think we're all excited that this conversation is happening much sooner than any of us anticipated. When shared responsibility was passed in 2010, it was a 30-year projection, and we're getting there much sooner. I would like to take just a moment to give some brief comments about the how and the why we got to shared responsibility, since I don't think anybody on the committee was here when it was passed. I know that we have some educators.
Was anybody here on the committee in 2010? It's a great argument for term limits.
I know that Representative Bojanowski, Truitt, Banta, and Riley were probably active teachers when this conversation occurred and when we stepped into the shared responsibility model. So in 2010, the TRS insurance fund was depleted, and the state was using a portion of the funding that was going into the retirement system to make those insurance payments. So legislators, school employees, school districts, and retirees came together and all agreed, by the way of the 2010 Shared Responsibility Bill, to step in and not only fully restore the funding for the medical insurance fund, but to share the cost beyond the normal cost of the health care benefits, to create that sustainable and efficient fund to ensure that all certified employees received health care in the retirement years without any kind of gap or interruption. The shared responsibility model created would eventually allow for the medical insurance fund to achieve 100% pre-funded status. And when we have a full pre-funded status, it's much less expensive for the state, it's much less expensive for the employees than a pay-by-go system, which was basically what was occurring up until 2010. We're proud to say that as a result of the work of the groups that came together and created the 2010 Shared Responsibility Bill, a bill that KEA sponsored and a lot of other education groups sponsored, the funding is now approaching 80% and well on its way to full funded status with just a few years to go, as Chair Petrie just mentioned. The 2010 reforms introduced key changes that redefined how costs were allocated. Under the shared responsibility model, contributions were shared amongst the state at 0.75%, from school district local funds at 3%, and individual educators at 3.75%, a true shared responsibility for everybody. This cost-sharing mechanism was coupled with enhanced accountability measures and periodic reviews, ensuring that all parties were incentivized to control the cost of health care and make sure it was an efficient delivery system. As a result, the funds not only achieved greater fiscal responsibility, but also set a precedent for sustaining management practices well into the future for our public school employees. Today, the legacy of the 2010 Shared Responsibility Initiative is reflected in the success of each stakeholder group living up to the promise. By aligning the interests of the state, the school districts, and the educators, the TRS Medical Insurance Fund has built a more resilient and adaptable framework, and one that remains focused on balancing quality health care benefits with responsible fiscal oversight. KEA has some questions about how this piece of legislation would work and would love to have lots more conversations around how it would move, how it would look moving forward. But the essence of the original shared responsibility legislation was to collectively address the looming post-retirement health care issue, and then at some point in the future, and we're getting close to that now, much sooner than expected, to come back together once more and then have the conversation about how do we continue the sustainability of that fund moving forward. We would like to ask this body to honor that original agreement of the shared responsibility bill and spend the next year or so having conversations with all those stakeholder groups. Bring us all back together. Let's have a conversation about what this looks like moving forward so that we can accomplish the goals. We know that great legislation is accomplished when we all come together and when to solve the issues. So I just wanted to put this, make some comments on this today. We really, again, we do appreciate starting this conversation, but would like to see all the stakeholders come back together.
I think that's a shared goal, and I think I cautioned in PPOB very slightly yesterday, and I'll do the same thing again. Right now, we're just trying to put a default position, and I think you're saying the same thing. We're putting a default position in for when we reach and when we expect to reach. Modifying the way the funding takes place now until we get to 100% in the health trust would be detrimental to that fund. So really the conversation about what we do is once we're at that 100%. Now, should we talk about it before we get there? Yes, I much prefer that. That's my modus operandi. So very good with that. But I know there are requests or narratives of let's tweak this percentage, let's tweak this percentage. Let's hold steady until we get to the 100%, then we've achieved our goal. Before we get there and we know what the projected date is, let's talk about how best to operate afterwards. Yeah. Very good. We do have, if I recall correct, we have a motion and a second for House Bill 694. And that's the only person, Mr. Campbell was the only person that signed up on 694 that I see. Seeing no other members seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll on House Bill 694.
Representative Bant.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Bray.
Aye.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown.
No.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Gentry.
Explain my vote, please.
Briefly, please.
Mr. Speaker, I was going to ask the gentleman a question.
Just a chair would be great.
I'm sorry. I'm already elevating you. Mr. Chair, I was going to ask a question, but I wasn't quick enough to get your attention. So the question I was going to ask is, does this, in his opinion, may it violate the shared responsibility plan in 2010? I didn't get that answer. So I'm going to post a no today because of fears that my understanding is it might, but I'll leave my mind open to have further questions with certain individuals to see if I might change my position on the floor. Thank you.
Very good, thanks.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 694, having received 17 yes votes, 3 nay votes, and 1 pass vote, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. And you're welcome to stay there, Representative Bray, or come back up, either one. We're going to take up House Bill 695. Representative Bowling, an act relating to Medicaid program and declaring an emergency. You're welcome to stay if you want to. And Representative Bowling, you may or may not want to go down there.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I am going to request that we pass over this today. I understand there's some people here. I've had conversations with many of these folks, but we filed the bill last week. We had several conversations. Once that bill was filed, we had a committee sub we were working on for today. I think 3 or 4 of the changes were made. In one of the sections, there was a part that was left out. It was corrected in 3 of the sections. Another section, the correction was left out. But I've continued to have conversations over the weekend with several of these groups, last night, this morning, and there are another 2 or 3 legitimate issues out there that I think we need to pause for just a minute, continue those conversations, and consider some changes on those.
Understood. We will move this to a discussion only for today. I'm not going to pass over it and not take it up at all, but we will turn it into a discussion only. Very important matter. And there is a companion bill on the issue of Medicaid. I believe that's House Bill 9. Is that correct? Representative Bowling?
Yes, that's correct.
We have a companion bill that I believe is in state government potentially. Just for big context, House Bill 9 is a Medicaid Oversight Advisory Board, much like PPOB has been set up previously to deal with public pensions. This would propose a similar structure to try to get a better knowledge base and policy directions under Medicaid as a whole. Who in here knows anything about Medicaid? Please raise your hand. Oh, come on now. Okay. Is there anybody in here that wants to stand up and say, I know everything about Medicaid? Anybody want to say that, make that statement truthfully? All right. So House Bill 9 will hopefully be able to be a joint venture between the executive branch and the legislative branch and others that are involved in Medicaid throughout the state to gain that knowledge base, to figure out more and more about Medicaid so that we can let it be as successful a program it can for its purposes, do so efficiently and effectively, and also not kill our budget at the same time. That's House Bill 9. The bill we have on today, House Bill 695, for which there is a PHS 1, and Representative Bowling has talked about. Most things were caught in that draft. There was one piece that was left out. And we've had several conversations over the weekend and even today, smaller issues. I will, if I may, this bill is not intended to set Medicaid policy for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years. It's not intended to do that. It's not intended to fix all issues in Medicaid, even now. But it is a type of triage bill that we can attempt to put a stasis on the program so that it doesn't grow uncontrollably, ineffectively, and inefficiently in the very, very short term until the Medicaid Oversight Advisory Board can get on its feet and start making better, make informed policy decisions along with the executive branch and participants in this big program. Fair enough, Representative Bowling?
Spot on, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Anything else to add on that portion before we get into the bill?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have anybody in room 169 that wanted to be a part of the Medicaid discussion on House Bill 695? There are a few chairs that have opened up if someone wants to come over. May take just a moment or let that happen organically. Representative Bowling, I don't know if you want to go to the presentation table, do it from there with Representative Bray, or whichever one you choose. Probably a good quick overview of the bill would be helpful. And then we'll see if anyone, we have 3 persons that have signed up to speak. They may want to speak conditionally before they say final sub. But if you'll give us a slight overview, would be great. Remember, this is going to be discussion only for today.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Adam Bowling, House District 87, State Representative.
And so I've got Representative Bray. You remain, and you remain under oath. Representative Bowling, raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman Petrie hit on it. This is a companion bill to House Bill 9. As we've had discussions in the interim, we've had hundreds of discussions surrounding Medicaid. When you look at our state budget, Medicaid is now our second biggest use of general fund dollars. When you look at the projected growth and you look at the growth compared to other states, Kentucky is somewhat of an outlier. I believe in 46 other states, the cost had gone down post-pandemic. Kentucky was one of 4 where costs have continued to climb. So that's very alarming to us. And these aren't 2-4% increases. These are 8, 10, 12% increases. And when you're talking about an item as big as the Medicaid budget, that can be quite substantial. And just to be quite frank, it's not sustainable. So we kicked off conversations in the interim. We've continued those conversations through today. As Chairman Petrie said, House Bill 9 is what we have identified as a good way to get the executive branch, the legislative branch, and then stakeholders as well, all at the table to be able to go through all these issues that have come up surrounding Medicaid that we have identified in House Bill 695. It will take some time to get that stood up, but we see as that as being the long-term solution as we move forward, so we can gather more data, we can have everybody at the table, we can have some conversations and make better educated decisions on policy about where we want to move Medicaid in the future. On House Bill 695, one of the things that we have seen is changes that the legislative body, quite frankly, does not know about. We've covered that in sections 1 through 3. These are changes on waivers, changes on state plan amendments, and we are left on the other side of the table trying to figure out how to piece the funding of all these various changes together. We don't have a good idea of how much fiscal impact these various changes are going to have, and so we want to come together with the executive branch to make sure we have a better idea and we can make more educated decisions about which changes we want to implement and which changes are not in Kentucky's best interest as we see it. So sections 1 through 3, they tackle that issue. One of the changes we have made in the committee sub that we had teed up for today is we talk about reimbursement rates in that. I understand there's a lot of give and take between providers in the cabinet throughout the year, and so that's something we decided that we could not get a scalpel enough approach. Our approach in the first committee sub, or in the original bill, was probably a little bit too broad, so we have removed that language, which should give comfort to all the providers out there, and it's an issue that they had brought up. We give authorization to the cabinet to request an 1115 community engagement waiver. This is a waiver application to establish a community engagement program for able-bodied adults without dependents who have been enrolled in Medicaid program for more than 12 months. Another section, section 5 and 6, we passed Senate Bill 50 in 2021 session, I believe, that dealt with pharmacy benefits and how we administer the Medicaid program within those. That has produced for our state around $1.5 billion a year in rebates. So over the biennium, that's $3 billion a year. We don't know where those dollars are coming from, when they're coming, who they're coming from, where they are going out. From our understanding, heading into the last budget cycle, the cabinet, instead of asking for a certain dollar figure, they said we need a lesser amount and we will fill the gap with the $1.5 billion in rebates. So that's how we have operated. We want to sequester those funds just so we bring more transparency to the process and that we can make better decisions moving forward on how to best utilize those funds. In the original language, there was a section we had put in there that took away authorization from the cabinet. We cleaned that up in the committee substitute. It was left in one section, so that's an issue that we've highlighted that we want to clean up so that the cabinet can continue business as usual as they move forward and have full authorization of those funds. It is something that we have pegged till July 1st of 2026 when we get into the new biennium. Hopefully we'll have better data there, more transparency, and we'll be able to better decide how we want to allocate those funds. Section 7 basically just requires CHFS to provide a copy to the LRC on any waiver amendments, waiver renewals, or state plan amendments. Again, we're normally we're brought in on those conversations on the back end, and we feel like that's something that should probably be brought up on the front end so we can make decisions together moving forward as a state. Section 8 covered quarterly reporting requirements. Subsections 1 through 3 they codify existing reporting requirements. We asked for some more information in subsection 4 and subsection 5. Record retention, from our understanding, we have requested various information from the cabinet. Certain portions of that information, from my understanding, are not kept. So we have requested that they keep all that information for 7 years. So again, we can make better decisions moving forward. One of the areas of concern that has been brought up is the growth in psychoeducation in Kentucky. So we have a section that limits that to, in the original bill, we had limited it to 1 unit per day and 100 units per year. Those classes are 15 minutes from what I understand, and a lot of times they are stacked in 4 units segments. So we have changed that in the committee substitute and allowing 4 units per day. You still have the 100-day limit on that, but again, we just had clarifying language around that. Section 11 requires the cabinet to report any barriers to implementation. I think we've seen this play out in the past where we pass a bill and then all of a sudden we're a day from sine die, or we're walking out the door in the veto period and hey, we don't have the money to implement that. So within 7 days, let us know about it. If there's some unintended consequence or some unintended cost in something we're looking to pass, please just come and let us know about it so we can work through that in a timely manner. Prior authorization, Section 12 hits prior authorization for behavioral health. There has been a lot of conversation from some of the stakeholders on this section, but we've seen a huge, when we look at the various budget units, we've seen huge increases on behavioral health, and this is something that we've decided to go back. Let's go back to where we were pre-pandemic, everything that was in place then. Most states did away with prior authorization as the pandemic hit, but most, or if not all, have gone back and put those prior authorizations back in place. Kentucky has not, and so that's an issue that we're trying to address, and we're continuing to work on language with some folks on that. Section 13, procurement of Medicaid managed care organization contracts. Again, in the interim, in all our meetings, this is something that continues to be brought up, is how are we, what's in our contracts, how are we holding MCOs to account, how are we having those conversations, what all is happening between the MCOs and the cabinets to make sure those contracts are being followed, and we just don't have the information on that. So that's something that there's a lot of interest in looking into, and it's a topic that we hope that Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Board will tackle as they are formed. Section 14 covers a Medicaid Managed Care Organization scorecard for behavioral health and substance use disorder services and providers. This is an idea that we've seen adopted in other states. Again, what we're looking for here is more transparency for the people that will use these services, for the providers themselves, and for the MCOs, that they'll be able to come together and say, hey, where are we falling short? Where can we improve our services to make sure people are getting the best services possible? It'll add transparency to the public, again, to the people that want to use the service, and hopefully get everybody in the room and be able to have conversations about how they can make themselves better. And that's it, Mr. Chair. There's a Section 15 declaration of emergency for this to take effect immediately.
Very good. Thank you very much. Again, discussion only for today. And I know you'll continue to work with those that have made contact on some of the issues you've already mentioned in your presentation. I have 3 persons that have signed up to speak. However, I also have the privilege of seeing Secretary Friedlander there, and I don't want to not give you the opportunity. So if you want to come up and speak to anything in particular, committee sub or otherwise, you are welcome to. And if you go, I want to see the final product before I speak, you're fine to do that, whichever way your preference. And I will comment that as Representative Bowling has presented, most of the stuff that remains in this bill is an approach on process more than it is trying to get into policy. And we're trying to leave that for Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Board if it gets stood up and have branches work together. If you will introduce yourself for the record, make sure your green light is really green on your microphone.
Eric Friedlander, Secretary of the Cabinet for Health and Family Services.
Very good. Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Please proceed. And realize we are at 20 after 11. We've got time. I've got 3 others that have signed up to speak, assuming they all do.
I will try to observe the 5 B's, which is be brief, brother, be brief. So appreciate understanding the perspective of the bill. That is actually very helpful, particularly the bill on Medicaid Oversight Advisory Board. Thank you. Appreciate the partnership with the General Assembly. And I believe, I hope, we've been good partners with the General Assembly. Certainly a lot of information has gone back and forth. I don't know if it's a terabyte yet, but it's a lot. And I understand there's still some to go, but we are indeed working on that. Just a couple of quick things, and then happy to have more discussion, and because I know you are pressed for time, on the pharmacy rebate. That's a great example of when the General Assembly and the executive branch worked together on Senate Bill 50, which set up the single PBM, which allowed the Cabinet for Health and Family Services to maximize a rebate for pharmacy. At the time, I believe we were clear that we would be using that to assist in funding the Medicaid program, which it has. $1.5 billion. That is an accurate number, and it continues to. I don't know if it's going to continue to grow, but it's hard for me to predict with the federal government relative to directed payments, 340B, all FMAP, all of those things. I can't predict that, so it's a little hard to project how much the buying power will be years out. But what the General Assembly did during the COVID pandemic was the FMAP rate, I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible, actually allowed a lot more federal fund to be available to Medicaid. The General Assembly, in its great wisdom, left that fund there, didn't try to spread it out, because my experience in 763, no, I'm under oath, 40 years with the cabinet, is that when you take money out of Medicaid, you end up putting it back in. So that's my concern with even moving it out in a budget year, that there could potentially, depending on what happens with that funding, be a hole there.
So on that point, I want to make sure we're clear, and please correct me if I have the wrong impression. On the rebate and that money, it was not intended for any portion to be left in the committee sub. There was a drafting oopsie. So all sections were removed that did that, except for one remained in error. So those funds are not set to be deauthorized in the bill. There is a date at which they would be deauthorized, which will be in the next biennium. But we would be able to address that in budget language and or a cure-up bill as we can gather more information and understand. So where you're left at in the current version, committee sub, on the issue of rebates, it is segregated to the side for tracking identification purposes, so we can all collect better data and see it by itself a little cleaner. Is that fair enough?
That's accurate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and everybody gets sensitive about the proprietary nature of their data, but yes, absolutely. So just quickly, some of the other pieces there might be costs associated with changing MCO contracts. There might be costs associated with some of the community engagement. We have a community engagement program, but a person's eligibility is not dependent on that program. We work with workforce development, and for folks who are recertifying, there we go. They get asked if they want to work with workforce development. We send folks over. I think it's about 28,000 the first year. We're probably down to 15, 16, 17
and
this
I think
year.
the community engagement portion has been in statute since around 21 or so. Yeah. Okay.
So, but asking CMS, and it was unclear to me whether it was an eligibility dependent ask or not. So I just didn't know. So just depending on how you ask, there's cost associated with that. And the rebid, even Senator Meredith's bill, we just had put the cost of what a rebid would cost. And 27, just for your all's information, when beginning of this administration, there was a bid right at that switch. I wouldn't want to do that to another administration. It's just hard. So I just want you all to know that. Then the H2027, we actually have an agreement. It is a little different than what's in the bill, but we actually reached an agreement with the MCOs and the providers, and we have a meeting this week, I think, on prior authorization.
On that code, then I would highly encourage you to talk to Representative Bowling and see if there's a way to work this into a statutory change or whether it should be worked into a statutory change.
I'm happy to share the letter that we sent in November, and so the change is happening in January. And those are the biggest pieces, and I hope I observed the 5 Bs.
You did extraordinarily well, and again, thank you for working with us in past and current, and please stay in contact with Representative Bowling. This is not meant to be, as I understand the bill, a fix for everything. It is get the most immediate triaged pieces that can get the oversight board up and going, and they have a better ground from which to push and understand.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Very good. Thank you.
I won't call you speaker.
Thank you. I had 3 other individuals that signed up to speak today on 695. Joe Dan Beavers with Life Skills, and Emily Beauregard with Kentucky Voices for Health, and Dustin Pugel with Kentucky Policy. I'm just making sure that one or more of them are in the room or making their way over. I see 1. I see 2. I see 3. Very good.
Front center.
Very good. And even though I called your names out or called names out, if each of you will make sure that your microphones have a real light on them, that they're sufficiently close to you, and introduce yourselves for the record, please.
Good morning. Emily Beauregard with Kentucky Voices for Health.
Joe Dan Beavers, President and CEO of Life Skills in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
And Dustin Pugel with the Kentucky Center for Economic Policy.
Very good. If each of you raise your right hands, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So y'all have been able to hear everything so far this morning. So understand that 695 is companion to House Bill 9, and they have different functional purposes. This is not a complete fix to anything or everything. It is a triage to gain stasis so that we can get that MOAB up and running and making good decisions. I think that Representative Bowling has been in contact with one or all of you, and I appreciate, and I know he does, appreciates the feedback and the quick feedback. Please proceed and bring up what you need to.
Well, thank you, Chair Petrie and members of the committee, for allowing us to share some feedback on House Bill 695. And I really want to thank Representative Bowling for giving me a call yesterday, making time to discuss some of these concerns. And I appreciate this discussion today because I think it has been helpful for us to understand more of the intent behind these bills. I want to also just note that I'm going to talk about two areas of the committee substitute that haven't been changed yet, but that we hope can have some additional changes. So Kentucky Voices for Health, we are a coalition of consumer health advocates working to ensure all Kentuckians have access to affordable quality health care. And we focus our work on identifying and removing barriers to care so that Kentucky families can stay healthy. We believe that the decision to pause certain aspects of Medicaid temporarily as you work on establishing the Medicaid Oversight and Advisory Board structure can be done in a measured and judicious way that doesn't cut funding or add additional barriers to the program that would make it harder for Kentuckians to access the care that they need. And I believe that it sounds like that is the intent of this bill. There are provisions of this bill that we also support, in particular, the increased access to data, reporting, and transparency. We believe that all policymakers need that kind of data at their fingertips in order to make informed decisions about healthcare spending, identifying care gaps, and improving service delivery for patients. We hope the data will also be used, at least in part, to identify administrative waste and low-value care that can be eliminated without reducing coverage or access to care for the 1.4 million Kentuckians who are currently covered by Medicaid. And from a consumer perspective, those two areas of the bill that haven't yet changed that we think could create additional barriers to care, we hope these can be addressed in some way. Section 4 of the committee sub directs the Cabinet for Health and Family Services to develop a community engagement program or to apply for a waiver from the federal government for able-bodied adults without dependents. And while we appreciate the exemptions for caregivers and for Kentuckians who are physically or mentally unable to work, who we know between caregivers and people who have an illness or a disability, we know this makes up more than a third of working age adults with Medicaid coverage. But the truth is that these exemptions are complicated. In practice, they're just more paperwork and very difficult for people to jump through hoops, particularly for people with disabilities or mental illnesses who may not be able to navigate the paperwork requirements and will end up falling through the cracks. We also worry about Kentuckians experiencing domestic violence or homelessness who may not be in a safe or a stable position to consistently receive mail and complete paperwork. When Governor Bevin was in office and working to implement a work reporting requirement at that time, providers worked with the cabinet on an exemption process for at least 3 years. And while there was general consensus on the conditions that should exempt individuals from that requirement, there was no agreement reached on clear set of criteria, who the evaluator should be, what the documentation or the attestation process should look like, the time frame, or the roles of DMS, the MCOs, clinicians, and members themselves. And for these reasons, in addition to the significant administrative cost of adding another layer of reporting requirements that can run into the tens of millions of dollars at times, we urge you to consider instead investing in additional employment supports like transportation and childcare that are so often the barriers facing low-income Kentuckians who are trying to work and take care of their families. We're also concerned with sections 10 and 12 of the committee sub that reinstate all prior authorizations for behavioral health services that were in place before the pandemic and have since been suspended. It sounds like there's some interest in making some changes there, and we appreciate that. We know from years of experience that prior authorizations can delay access to behavioral health services for individuals facing an acute need. And for conditions like depression, anxiety, and substance use disorder, early intervention is crucial to improving health outcomes and reducing the need for higher cost services, such as emergency room visits or inpatient hospitalization. Prior authorizations result in delays in patients receiving needed services. And these delays often result in the patient giving up and leaving a facility without getting the care that they need. That ends up kind of snowballing into symptoms worsening because treatment was not provided at the appropriate time. And in turn, there's a need for more intensive services at a later point. And that is both to the patient's detriment, but also an increased cost to the patient, to the system. The good news is that the Kentucky Association of Health Plans, DMS, the Kentucky Mental Health Coalition, and the Behavioral Health TAC have investigated this issue extensively and found that there are relatively, a small number of non-clinical codes being overbilled by non-licensed providers. So rather than wholly reinstating prior authorizations as the primary tool to prevent overbilling or inappropriate care, these concerns could more effectively be addressed through targeted reforms, such as implementing regular audits that have, a reasonable limit, establishing appropriate provider-client ratios, and these measures would maintain the benefits of increased access while addressing some of those specific gaps in oversight.
And there may be another piece if there's an agreement that's being worked on between the
Yes,
cabinet. That'd be great.
That would be fantastic, and we would love to work with you on that. Prior authorizations could then be applied more narrowly to those non-clinical services delivered by non-licensed paraprofessional providers and facilities, and that would really target those services that have been overbilled. And I just want to highlight House Bill 580, which is sponsored by Representative Kim Mosier. It's a bill this session that has been filed and is a good example of instituting appropriate guardrails for non-licensed providers. We think that's good legislation, and that should help in this instance. So as you consider making additional changes to House Bill 695, we would encourage you to pursue Medicaid oversight reforms that both protect healthcare access while promoting program sustainability in a way that would ultimately strengthen Medicaid without creating unintended barriers for Kentucky families.
The great thing is hopefully from the conversation we've had today, you understand that's our goal also.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Again, Joe Dan Beavers, CEO at Life Skills. We're a community mental health center in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And in 2020, we merged with the Pennyroyal Center. So we also serve the Hopkinsville area. So our geography, if you're looking at the map, I like to describe it as Mammoth Cave to Land Between the Lakes, that sweet spot right in the middle. But we serve predominantly rural and suburban communities in South Central and Western Kentucky. And I appreciate Representative Bowling and some of the others that have been so responsive to the questions we've had about this and helped explain it, provide more clarity, working on the committee substitute. All of these are steps in the right direction. I'm really grateful for that because I know you guys have a lot going on and have been very, very responsive. So thank you for that. And I don't necessarily, with what's already been said, have much new information to add, but I will point out just one small thing that's specific to community mental health in this equation. I appreciate the spirit of the bill and the intent and what you guys are working to do, and I'm grateful for that as a taxpayer. As a community mental health center, there's work that our industry has been coordinating with the cabinet and the Department for Behavioral Health for a number of years. It goes back a few administrations, actually, both at the federal and state level, that brings best practice national model to Kentucky for community mental health. You guys may have heard about, I know we've got a ton of acronyms. We talk about the CCBHC project, a Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. Bringing that program to Kentucky for the community mental health centers is the way we make the program sustainable long-term, both for the Commonwealth and for its people and for us as those safety net providers. And I know the cabinet has been very close to, I believe, rolling that program out and extending it for us. And so our concern is that some of these, particularly with the emergency clause, may stop that really good work that we've been working on really for maybe almost a decade. And so really, really hopeful that we can still see that through to the finish line. And thank you, though, again, for your responsiveness and willing to hear us.
And thank you for bringing up the issue. And, yep, we're working on that.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Please.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Representative Bowling, thank you for having me. I'll be very brief. I just want to limit my comments to Section 4 of the committee substitute, which directs the cabinet to request a waiver to implement subsections 1 and 2 of that section. And I want to start just with a couple comments about what we know about Medicaid enrollees' current community engagement activities. According to the current population survey, in the last 3 years, 2/3 of non-elderly Kentucky adults covered by Medicaid work. They either work full-time or part-time. The remainder are either ill or disabled, or were engaged in their community in some other way, taking care of a loved one, going to school, or actively looking for work. In that survey, only 2% of respondents were not working for some reason that the survey couldn't identify. And my point is that what we've learned from previous attempts to mandate work as a condition for eligibility for Medicaid and other programs is that it is in the end, a lot of red tape that ends up resulting in lower participation without improving employment outcomes necessarily. 25 years of experience with other types of requirements, other programs similar to this, show that they're really good at they're very efficient at taking away benefits, and that's something that we're concerned about. Now, the bill as written doesn't appear to do that, and that's great. It appears to continue to encourage the cabinet, push the cabinet to implement subsections 1 and 2. And in that regard, it provides a lot of good opportunities. There are other programs that do similar things like SNAP Employment and Training, the Kentucky Works program through TANF, the Ready to Work Scholarship, and even the Job Placement Assistance Program in subsection 2. These are all excellent opportunities to move people toward well-paying and successful careers. And as HB 695 moves ahead, we really hope that it continues in that way. And we encourage the committee and other members to allow and not mandate Medicaid enrollees to take advantage of those programs. So with that, I appreciate your time, and thank you.
I appreciate it very much, and Representative Bowling can correct me if needed, but we've had community engagement, that phrase, since 21 in statute. And so as you stated toward the second part of that comment, this bill doesn't go further than that. We're not in a position with a triage bill to say this is what community engagement now must be in all its facets. That's going to be a Medicaid Oversight Advisory Board question over time. But we are highlighting the fact that that already exists in statute, and community engagement should be a renewed pursuit to see if there is something that can be leveraged to make the system better. All right, anyone else at the table? All good?
Thank you.
Very good. I see that to the detriment of somebody at the table, you have brought with you a former senator, which will carry no weight in this committee whatsoever. If you want him to come up and speak on your behalf to your detriment, you're welcome to do so.
Not a chance.
Still my favorite constituent, but you carry no weight in here. Okay. All right. Representative Bojanowski.
Yeah, there's been a lot covered, and this is way out of my purview of what I know about. But let me just ask one question. So, the pharmacy rebates, up to $1.5 billion a year. Is the intent to have those rebates pulled out of the Medicaid system,
No.
or is the intent to just manage what happens with that money?
There's no intent to pull them out. There's simply an intent to bring more transparency to the process so that we may make better decisions as we approach the next biennium.
And to that end, the committee sub did that in all respects except for one that was left in an error.
Correct.
Who else dares seek recognition for comment or question at the end of this hour and 40 minutes? Representative Gentry? No taker? Seeing no one else seeking recognition, thank y'all all very much.